Hi, my name is Tom Sojka. I'm a PhD candidate in history at Boston University, currently in my third year. And this past summer, I was the humanities intern at Boston Public Library. I want to thank the Office of the Associate Provost for Graduate Affairs and the BU Center for Humanities for this opportunity. I'd also like to thank Daniel Kleiman, Susan Mazuruki, Ariane Chernock, and Benjamin Siegel for their support and advice. Additionally, I'd like to thank Tom Blake for his mentorship at the Boston Public Library, in addition to the entire BPL staff who made me feel truly welcome at this institution. I was really excited by the opportunity to participate in the summer internship program, particularly at Boston Public Library. Prior to coming to BU to start my PhD, I spent 2 years working at the John Carter Brown Library at Brown University, a rare book library whose collection is focused on the history of the Americas, North and South, prior to around 1825. In my role there, I primarily administered the fellowship program, but also assisted in wider programmatic initiatives and was particularly interested in how to engage multiple publics. It was with this background in mind that I thought about potential projects for my summer internship. Ultimately, I worked on two projects at BPL, a digital exhibition which utilized the library's collections, and outlining a strategy for crowdsourcing and collecting metadata for a particular audiovisual collection. My own dissertation research is focused around charting the geography of sociability in 1920s and 1930s Britain. Since this area is not necessarily one of the strengths of the library's collections, I looked for a potential exhibition topic that could engage with some of my thematic interests, such as drinking culture, nightlife, and attempts to regulate and control social life. In searching for relevant collections in the library's online image repository, Digital Commonwealth, I came across the Leslie Jones collection. Jones was a press photographer for the Boston Herald Traveler from 1917 to 1956, and his photos capture both quotidian and extraordinary events in the city's history. Within this collection, I was particularly drawn to Jones's expansive documentation of Prohibition in Boston, which included depictions of the closure of liquor stores in the wake of the passage of the 18th Amendment, policing on land and sea, speakeasies, bootlegging, rum running, and the celebratory festive atmosphere in the city upon repeal. Since I'm not an Americanist by training, I essentially approached the research for this exhibition like reading for a comprehensive exam field, reading widely and trying to digest as much as I could on Prohibition in the United States. What surprised me was the relative lack of scholarship on Prohibition in Massachusetts, and Boston in particular, making this fruitful ground for potential future research. I used this initial research in conjunction with printed primary and secondary sources available both at BPL and BU, alongside the photos from the Leslie Jones collection, to drive the narrative story in my digital exhibition. I created six substantive sections which trace the history of the control of the drink trade from the 19th century to the eventual repeal of such restrictions and its aftermath. The first section, A Prehistory of Prohibition, provided the background on 19th century attempts to prohibit the sale of intoxicating liquors, with prohibition at the state level being enacted and repealed several times during the 1800s. Bringing together visual sources that included advertisements linking beer drinking to health, plates depicting the dangers of even one drink, and political cartoons highlighting the variety of reform movements and organizations, like the Women's Christian Temperance Union and the Anti-Saloon League, this section showcases the multiple interests at play in constructing narratives around alcohol. The second section, Drying Out, discusses the passage of the Volstead Act and the ratification of the 18th Amendment of the Constitution, which went into effect on January 17, 1920. Photographs in the BPL's collection show liquor stores selling their stocks at cut rates in the lead up to 1920, in addition to officials smashing kegs and barrels as the dries claimed victory over the wets. The next section, Shot Chaser and City Upon a Still, show that despite best efforts of law enforcement, alcohol was not only still finding its way onto Boston's shores through a robust rum running trade, but was also being provided illicitly by bootleggers, sometimes to dangerous and explosive ends. A section on the speakeasy also showcases a robust nightlife persisting in a city at secret bars like Club Garden located at 153 Causeway Street in the North End. The Jones collection contains no shortage of photos of raids of nightclubs, the seizure of illegal drink, and the breaking down of the bars themselves. A final section, Happy Days or Beer Again, discusses the turning tide against Prohibition and shows how Boston reacted to its eventual appeal in 1933. Suggestions for further reading, titled Thirsty for More, follow the main exhibition text and points interested parties to books on related topics available at the Boston Public Library in an attempt to encourage patronage of the library itself. Beyond the exhibition project, I also strategized how to better solicit and gather crowdsourced metadata for one of the hidden gems of the Boston Public Library's collection, the WHDH News Collection, which contains local news footage from 1960 to the mid 1970s. Currently, much of the collection is not sufficiently cataloged or digitized, therefore making it difficult for users to effectively access and ultimately use. Over the course of the summer at BPL, I was able to use skills I developed both in my professional life before BU and skills I have honed since beginning doctoral study. This internship opportunity served as a reminder of the multitude of skills that PhD students in the humanities can bring to jobs outside of or adjacent to the academy, and ultimately made me think more seriously about pursuing a library or museum career after finishing my degree. Thank you.